What does Facebook, Unilever, the UK Ministry of Justice, and Harvard have in common? If you guessed that lizards rule them all, I couldn't prove that you're wrong. That wasn't my point though. They are actually all some of Amazon Web Services' biggest clients. Apart from those world-renowned brands and institutions, AWS's client base also includes over 2,000 government agencies, 5,000 tech-based educational institutions, thousands of emerging tech companies, and many, many more. Hi, my name is Gray from Twill. We post videos every week about topics that we find super interesting. Hopefully, you will find them interesting too. Today, we'll go into the details of what AWS actually is, its history, its biggest clients, and much more. This company, just like its mother brand, Amazon, is a very complex business. It required a lot of research from our part to fully understand it, so we'll try to break it down and make things as simple as possible in this video. But before we get into that, please make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and smash the like button to help us out with the YouTube algorithm. As of right now, Amazon Web Services, or AWS for short, is the top leading cloud service provider in the world. A lot of the top tech companies in the world such as Facebook, Twitter, BBC, Adobe, and Netflix use Amazon Web Services. So you can get a quick idea of the scale that we're dealing with here. Most of us take advantage of AWS's offering without even realizing it. To understand how Amazon Web Services got there, we need to first understand why there was a need for cloud computing in the first place, and why this need is still growing to this day. Let's take the example of Netflix. It's a well-known streaming platform that allows anyone to stream movies and TV shows on mobile, desktop, and even most smart TVs nowadays. In order for this to be possible, the user's phone establishes a connection to their servers. Data is then transmitted to the user's device in the form of a video buffer. In theory, a company like Netflix could run their operation using only a large server, with multiple hard drives that store all the content. It could then start transmitting all the data on demand. There's a huge problem with this approach, however. A single server could potentially be unable to handle that much load. So if 100 or 1,000 or 100,000 people start trying to stream movies at the same time, for example, it can severely bottleneck the server. This means that anyone who's watching a movie would be repeatedly hit with an annoying loading screen until enough users simply stop using the service, thus getting rid of the bottleneck. Not to mention, a single problem in the server could totally break the connection of all users. In this scenario, since everybody would connect to only one server, any server downtime would mean that every single user would be completely unable to watch or download their favorite movies and TV shows. The solution to this problem seems quite simple. Just keep multiple servers so that if one server fails, the other one can keep streaming all the data and avoid any issues or downtime, right? Well, it's not that simple, unfortunately. To make this as clear as possible, let's suppose that the location of the server is on one side of the planet, maybe in Australia, and that the other user lives on the other side of the planet, maybe in the US. This situation would create a huge latency issue because of the physical distance between the server and the user, which would once again lead to the buffering issue that we mentioned earlier. Even shorter distances, such as France to Canada, could lead to these kinds of issues. In order to solve this, Netflix would need to install hundreds or thousands of servers at different locations all over the world, which is simply unrealistic from a financial standpoint for them or most companies. Netflix would simply be unable to do that while maintaining the competitive monthly offering they currently got. This is where Amazon Web Services come in. Instead of buying and installing their own servers, Netflix can simply use AWS, who, you guessed it, already has tons of servers all over the world and a huge team of engineers trained to operate them. In case it isn't clear enough, that was a huge game changer and one of the big puzzle pieces that allowed for the internet as we know it today to happen. It means that companies like Netflix simply no longer need to buy expensive server equipment or any of the needed infrastructures around it, such as fully secure, environment-controlled server rooms. They also no longer need to hire and train highly paid engineers to install and maintain the servers. All they need to do is to use Amazon Web Services. And all those problems are solved at a fraction of the price that it would cost them if they were to do it on their own. Now, whether your business is a streaming service, a social media, or even a school or a bank that needs to securely store data, Amazon Web Services can take care of all your cloud computing needs. They have the thousands of servers, the huge team to operate them, and a wide array of solutions that cater to even the most extreme of cloud computing needs. AWS also has a very high failure tolerance, as they have a very high number of redundancies. Amazon Web Services also claim to provide 99.999999999% of security, safety, and durability of their servers as well as your data. According to AWS's website, the solutions they currently offer include application hosting, website hosting, data backup, data storage, enterprise IT, content delivery, and databases. The process to get started with any of those services is as easy as creating an account online with AWS and connecting your website or app to their servers. For any knowledgeable IT staff, most AWS solutions can be set up within minutes. This all seems amazing, but it brings up some important questions. If it's really so cumbersome and complicated to build such an infrastructure that even some of the biggest companies don't dare trying it, how and why did AWS make it happen in the first place? And how are they managing to turn a profit after investing so much into this kind of infrastructure? Let's try to answer those questions together. It all dates back to the early 2000s, when Amazon was still a somewhat young company, one that's very different from the Amazon we all know today. Simply put, the e-commerce company had issues scaling up, similar to the ones we described earlier in our Netflix example. Out of necessity, Amazon had to start building its own infrastructure, and to grow it quickly. At the same time, the company was trying to offer e-commerce services to big brands like Target, which was also causing them tons of technical and planning issues. They worked hard at it, and by 2004, the team was starting to get a good understanding of what they were dealing with. AWS didn't exist officially then, but the company had already done a good part of the back-end work that would eventually become AWS's first cloud solutions. As we all know, Amazon's CEO is Jeff Bezos. What you might not know, though, is that he isn't the CEO of Amazon Web Services. Andy Jassy currently runs that whole operation. In a TechCrunch article, Jassy recalls how the executive team, which he was a part of, had to retreat at Jeff Bezos' house to discuss company matters, one of them being AWS. The article states, "The executive team conducted an exercise identifying the company's core competencies. An exercise they expected to last 30 minutes, but ended up going on for a fair bit longer. Of course, they knew they had skills to offer, a broad selection of products, and they were good at fulfilling and shipping orders, but when they started to dig, they realized that they had other skills they hadn't considered. As the team worked," Jassy recalled, "they realized they had also become quite good at running infrastructure services, like compute, storage, and database, due to those previously articulated internal requirements. What's more, they had become highly skilled at running reliable, scalable, cost-effective data centers out of need." By 2006, Amazon was the first company to bring a modern cloud infrastructure to market under a pay-as-you-use model. The company didn't see much competition for many years, which allowed it to gain a huge market share, along with a wide range of major clients that brought in a substantial profit. By 2020, AWS was bringing in around $13.5 billion in yearly profits for Amazon, representing 63% of the company's profits. Its revenue of $45.3 billion is up 30% year over year, showing us just how strong and consistent its growth is, even after more than 15 years in the market. It's important to note that the 2020 pandemic also boosted the digital economy, and that the need for cloud computing is now bigger than ever, and will only grow bigger in the coming years. As of today, AWS holds the biggest market share in cloud computing services with 33% of the whole market, followed by Microsoft Azure, who holds 13% of the market share, and Google Cloud with just over 6%. AWS has truly been a stepping stone in the Internet's maturation process, making Internet infrastructure much more affordable and accessible to businesses of all sizes across the world. But it doesn't stop there. In good Amazon fashion, AWS has huge plans for the future. Apart from some amazing physical storage products for large enterprises and an ever-expanding line of cloud products, the company is also working on some innovative 5G products in collaboration with Nokia and various other businesses. We could go on for hours on AWS's future projects, but that's all we've got for you in this video. If there's any topic or event we mentioned in this video that we should go more in depth about, maybe Microsoft Azure, please make sure to let us know in the comments below. And while you scroll back up, why not quickly decimate that like button just to make sure YouTube knows how it is. Anyways guys, it was a pleasure making this video. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as we enjoyed making it, and that you learned something new about AWS. See you in the next one.